A young man from the tough neighborhoods of Antwerp dreamed of power and wealth beyond anyone's reach. Known for his fearless ambition, he built one of Belgium's most dangerous drug empires, controlling his vast operation from the luxury of Dubai. His rise was ruthless, and his power seemed unbreakable. But what if I told you that his unstoppable rise, all his money, all his secrets came crashing down because of one drunk woman, a single mistake, and a gunshot that nobody saw coming? How did a simple accident become the key to taking down one of Europe's most wanted men? This is the story of Nordin El Hajjioui, also known as Fat Nordin. He started as a small-time drug dealer on the streets of Antwerp, Belgium, and rose to become one of the most feared and wanted criminals in the country. Over time, Nordin built an empire of crime that stretched from Antwerp to Dubai. His organization smuggled huge amounts of cocaine through the busy port of Antwerp, and his life was filled with dangerous alliances, violent feuds, and high-stakes business deals. But eventually, his own mistakes and the errors of his closest allies led to his downfall. Today, we will take you through the incredible journey of Nordin's rise to power, his escape to Dubai, and his eventual return to Belgium. Nordin El Hajjioui was born in Nador, Morocco, but his family moved to Antwerp, Belgium, where he grew up in the Dam neighborhood. This area was known for being tough, and many young people there struggled with crime. Nordin began his criminal career by working as a street dealer, selling small amounts of drugs to people in his community. Although he was arrested several times, his punishments were usually mild community service or a short time in jail. None of this scared him. In fact, Nordin seemed determined to make it big. One day, Nordin received a 40-month prison sentence. But instead of going to jail, he fled to the Netherlands. This was a huge decision and a turning point in his life. In the Netherlands, Nordin met a man named Samir Bouyakrechan, also known as Scarface. Samir was a top drug trafficker with a powerful network that smuggled cocaine from South America into Europe. Samir's organization was far bigger than anything Nordin had experienced before. Under Samir's mentorship, Nordin learned important skills, like how to handle large shipments, keep secrets, and build valuable contacts. Samir's group had direct lines to suppliers in South America, and they moved tons of cocaine through Europe's busiest ports. What made Nordin especially useful to Samir was his knowledge of Antwerp. The port of Antwerp was one of Europe's largest and busiest, making it a prime location for smuggling drugs. Nordin's contacts and understanding of the area made him an important asset. With Samir's guidance and his own local connections, Nordin began his rise in the drug world. By 2016, Nordin was no longer a small street dealer. He was bringing in hundreds of kilos of cocaine, becoming one of Antwerp's key players in drug smuggling. He earned so much money that people joked he didn't need to count it. He could simply weigh it. His friends called him NWA, which stood for Never Working Again, because he made enough money to live comfortably without ever needing a regular job. To grow his business further, Nordin joined forces with another powerful figure named Frank the Tank. Frank was an ex-bodybuilder and former nightclub bouncer with deep connections at the Antwerp port. These contacts allowed Frank to arrange access to containers, which was crucial for bringing in large quantities of cocaine. Together, Nordin and Frank became a formidable team, successfully smuggling massive shipments and earning huge amounts of money. However, their partnership started to crack in early 2017. A shipment went wrong, and Nordin lost a lot of money. He demanded that Frank return the 400,000 euros he had paid him up front. But Frank refused, saying he had already paid his workers and couldn't get the money back. Nordin was furious and reportedly sent someone to Frank's house with a gun to demand repayment. This marked the beginning of a bitter and violent clash between the two men. After Nordin sent a gunman to Frank's house, Frank decided to retaliate. On February 23, 2017, he ordered a shooting at Nordin's parents' home as a warning. Just 3 days later, Nordin struck back, sending men to throw firebombs at Frank's house. The violence terrified the people of Antwerp, who watched as the dispute escalated with each new attack. Both men seemed determined to win, and neither was willing to back down. Feeling unsafe in Belgium, Nordin made the decision to leave the country and move to Dubai. From Dubai, he continued to run his organization, staying in control of his empire even though he was over 6,000 kilometers away. His enemies and allies back in Antwerp still feared him, knowing that his influence could reach them even from afar. In February 2018, a disturbing incident shook the city of Antwerp. Flyers labeled "Death to Informants" appeared all over the city. These flyers listed the names of supposed snitches, including Frank, some of his associates, an ex-girlfriend, and even a corrupt police officer. The message was clear: anyone who betrayed Nordin would face severe consequences. Everyone suspected that Nordin was behind these flyers, even though he was still living in Dubai. The flyers created a lot of tension and fear, and people started to worry about who might be targeted next. For a long time, it seemed like Nordin's empire was untouchable. But then, an unexpected event changed everything. On April 20th, 2019, a woman named Birgit S. accidentally shot herself in the foot while playing with a gun. She was drunk and didn't realize the gun was loaded. When the police arrived at her apartment, they discovered a shocking scene: a basement filled with weapons, grenades, cocaine, and cash. This accidental shooting led the police to investigate her boyfriend, Mufti R, who unknowingly exposed more members of Nordin's organization. Through Mufti, the police discovered other hideouts that were filled with more weapons and drugs. One of the key people they identified was Mehmet Ali T, who was Nordin's right-hand man. This series of discoveries led to a major breakthrough for the police, giving them more insight into Nordin's criminal network. Around the same time, the police were tapping the phone calls of Eric P., a truck driver who worked for Nordin's organization. Eric liked to brag about smuggling shipments of cocaine, and he talked about his work over the phone. His conversations provided more leads for the police. They followed him as he delivered a shipment to a warehouse, where they arrested several of Nordin's men who were loading cocaine into vans. In March 2020, the police launched a huge raid. They searched 39 locations across Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands, seizing firearms, cash, jewelry, and encrypted phones. More than 50 people were arrested in this operation, dealing a major blow to Nordin's organization. His empire was starting to crumble. After the raid, Nordin knew he was in serious trouble. On June 16, 2020, he was arrested in Dubai. However, Nordin managed to pay bail, reportedly only 10,000 euros, and was released. Meanwhile, Belgian authorities continued to gather evidence, determined to bring him to justice. In March 2021, Belgian police launched Operation Sky ECC, one of the biggest anti-drug operations in Belgium. This operation identified Nordin as the leader of an organization involved in cocaine trafficking, arms dealing, and grenade attacks. Nordin now faced a potential 15-year prison sentence if convicted. Even though he was in Dubai, Nordin's legal troubles were far from over. His lawyers argued that he hadn't received an official invitation to the trial, causing more delays. The judges in Belgium were determined to continue, but Nordin's legal team kept challenging them, creating more obstacles. For years, Nordin remained a wanted man. He was on Interpol's most wanted list and faced serious charges, but he continued to live in Dubai, safe from extradition. The Belgian authorities were eager to bring him back to face justice, but the process was long and complicated. But then, in a surprising turn of events, on a Friday evening, the Belgian authorities finally succeeded in bringing Nordin back to Belgium. After 8 years of hiding in Dubai, where the authorities had refused to extradite him, Nordin landed at the military airport in Melsbroek, Belgium. His arrival led to the end of his long period of freedom. The authorities had been searching for him for years, and he was finally within reach. He was scheduled to appear before the investigating judge the next day, prepared to face the charges he had tried to avoid for so long. Nordin El Hajjioui's story is one of ambition, greed, and violence. He started as a street dealer in Antwerp, but quickly rose to control one of the largest drug smuggling operations in Belgium. His journey took him from the small streets of Antwerp to the luxury of Dubai. Along the way, he made powerful enemies, formed dangerous alliances, and committed countless crimes to keep his empire growing. Today, Nordin is back in Belgium, where he will face justice for his actions. He is accused of large-scale cocaine smuggling, arms trafficking, and ordering violent attacks. His return marks a significant victory for Belgian authorities, who had been pursuing him for years. As he faces trial, the people of Belgium can finally see that justice may be served. The story of Nordin El Hajjioui is a warning about the dangers of a life of crime. Even though he seemed untouchable, his power and influence could not protect him forever. In the end, the mistakes of his followers, along with the persistence of law enforcement, brought him down. His story serves as a reminder that crime may lead to temporary riches, but it can never bring lasting peace. Nordin El Hajjioui's life story is one of ambition and downfall. He began as a small-time street dealer, but climbed the ranks of the criminal world to become one of Belgium's most wanted men. His journey took him from Antwerp to Dubai, where he enjoyed years of freedom, evading authorities. But despite his efforts to stay hidden and out of reach, he was finally caught and brought back to Belgium. His empire, built on violence, crime, and secrecy, ultimately fell due to a combination of his own mistakes and the relentless pursuit of justice by law enforcement. No one knows what lies ahead for Nordin El Hajjioui. Will he continue to evade justice, or will his crimes finally catch up with him in Belgium's courtrooms? Either way, the story of Fat Nordin is far from over. Will Nordin's legacy be one of endless power, or will he face the consequences of his choices at last? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story from Dutch Crime Rundown. Thanks for watching.